Right.
Okay.
My battery's
Hey,
fine.
look at that.
Okay.
Crazy cat woman.
Oh my
So is
goodness,
this one of the new ones, Melissa?
Yes, this is one of my daughter's cats that just came.
I have one too. Her name is Callie. She's the calico cat, and she's a nightmare. I love her so much.
Yeah, this is the girl I call the bad girl. She's the bad girl. She likes to get into everything. She's chewing my plant on my table right now as we speak.
Outstanding.
Well, she knows you're distracted, so it's a great
Yeah,
time to do
yeah.
it.
I technically have two cats because my fiance has a cat, Tiger, and I consider her my cat. And she's the complete opposite of my actual cat. Like, she's very cuddly, she's loving, she meows a lot. My cat is quiet. She doesn't touch people. She doesn't like other people touching her but me. She hates my fiance. Like, every time he walks past her, she always scratches at him. It's great.
Yeah, they're all
A little
different.
jealous, huh?
Yeah, I
Okay,
love
Alex, I
cats.
thought you were going to get a cat, so
Oh
okay,
no.
all right.
Oh, I can get
Well,
my
good.
cat.
I think no, no, that's okay. That's okay. I think Kenya's trying to get on board. This may be, who knows? This may be us for tonight. I don't know. But if it is, we'll make good use of the time that we have. I see. Kenya, are you trying two different devices?
I had a hard time, just so you
Kind of
know. I had to
interesting.
do it from my phone. My computer wouldn't work. Asked me for an email and a password.
Mm. I use
Yeah,
for
yeah. I know it's
another class I have the we have to use the email and password too, and the one we
Mhm.
use is just our email for Outlook and the password for that one.
Oh,
So
okay.
so that's what we do for my other class that I'm in right now.
Okay. Maybe that work. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah, it was confusing because my
yeah,
other
maybe.
class is yeah, so I'm having like different teachers having to sign in different ways. So I'm like, oh, what do I do?
Yep.
Yeah, no, we're not. No one has given us direction on how to do it in a uniform way. So I'm sure you're getting it all kinds of different ways. And especially me, I don't think, Melissa, that I set a password for the class. There was a feature where I could,
Okay.
um, and I'm pretty sure I didn't because I was afraid I would lock myself out.
Right.
Um, but I can't explain it. Yeah, I had issues last week with my computer. I'm using my computer this week, but I used my phone last week. So either one will work. It's just
Yeah.
whatever seems to work best for you.
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. At least the three of us here. Is there anything specifically in the way of um, prayer request before we get started? Because I'd like to start with prayer and then walk through a couple things that should help with week two. So, Javier, welcome. Alex, Melissa, anybody got a prayer request for us tonight?
Uh, I
Professor,
don't.
there's some people in like a different link. There's there's like 7 people
Are you seeing?
using the link that's on Moodle. So I just typed in the link that you emailed us last week, and there's like 7 people
Yeah,
right now that are on a different
really.
yeah. So I can log in on the other one and let them know, or I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I thought this was the same. I thought it was
No,
the same link. I thought it was a recurring link.
no,
Oh
I
See,
can.
gosh.
there you go, Melissa.
Yeah,
Hook them
I
up
had
if you
logged
can.
into the
If you can get them over, Javi, that'd be great. Because I didn't. I was looking for other people. I didn't see anybody. So
Okay, I might have to leave this meeting and then come back. So
okay,
all right.
okay.
Mm. Kitty.
Well, there's our cat again. Okay, well, real quick, and Melissa, Alex, how about you guys? How are we on prayer request?
and honestly, I haven't prayed in so long, so I don't have a request. It's been a
Okay,
while for me
fair
personally.
enough. Melissa, how are you doing?
One of my best friends just had surgery a couple days ago. She has breast cancer, and so I just maybe we could add her. Her name's Amber to make sure she is hopefully cancer free after the surgery.
Okay. Is she here local, Melissa?
Yeah, she's in Oakdale.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's my hometown. I don't know. It's one of those
Oh, really?
weird things. Yeah, I was born and
Oh,
raised there. Yeah, yeah.
oh, wow.
Oakdale was home for me growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does a prayer
Okay.
request work? Like, what does that mean, a prayer
Well,
request?
if there's something going on you'd like us to pray along with you and pray for you, Alex, just if there's an issue going on, we'll do it and we'll just pray that God would help you with it. So, for example, with Amber, we'll pray for God's healing for her after her surgery, and then we'll get moving. Okay?
Do you see yourself?
Can I make a request for my dad? Because he
Sure.
works at Smart, and we have an increase in cases here in like the town that I live in, Los Angeles, and he's really worried about it. And
Don't.
I've recently been getting back into religion and faith, and he's a man
Mhm.
of logic and science, and he's very stubborn. So should we probably pray for him?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, we'll pray for your dad. Okay, we'll do that, Alex. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and pray now, and hopefully Javi is a Pied Piper and brings many people more back into the Zoom here tonight. But let's go ahead and begin. So, Father, I do lift tonight that you would help us with this technology, that you would guide us through this course, that you would open our eyes to the truth that is here for us, and help us as we seek to help each other not only get through this class, but grow through this class. So, Lord, I do lift specifically, I want to lift up Melissa's friend Amber as she recovers from the surgery. God, we do pray that she would be cancer-free, that the surgery would have done its job and her healing would begin to take place. And God, I pray for Alex's father. I don't really know his situation, but I do pray for his heart. I pray that you would continue to just surround him and soften his heart, that as she begins to grow closer to you, that he too would feel a sense of wanting to come to know you better.
I don't know if anyone can hear
So,
me,
Lord,
but
we lift up.
the link that you guys logged in using Moodle, it's this one, and he's currently on the one that he emailed us on.
Oh, wow. We can hear you too.
So I just put it in the chat. It's I don't know if you guys can see it on the chat, but the number is 932-7458-2795, and there's like 2 or 3 other people. So
That's weird.
I don't know if you can see that information or not, but
It could be because
Okay, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was wondering too, like why he wasn't
Yeah,
here. But
thank you.
I logged in the number using the one that he emailed us last week, so there have been like 2 other people on there. So I'll see
Javier,
you guys on the other one if you guys want to join.
they can't hear us, but we can hear
Okay,
them.
thank you.
Mhm.
Did you say Meg?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so our prayer. Yeah, amen to our prayer, and let's go ahead and move. Let's move forward. Then, Javier, can you hear us, Javier? Okay, Melissa, do you understand what's going on with the others and where they're at?
They're on a different screen, and they're just gonna have to go in and log in to the screen. Yeah, this
Okay.
screen.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Javier, for going and reaching out to them. We just got started with our prayer requests, and I do want to take just a few minutes real quick to catch up on a few things as we get started with timing. And I know this week, like I said earlier, we're going to go ahead and let the timing be a little bit soft for those who weren't able to get things in this past week. But as we move forward, you'll see it in your syllabus. You'll see it on the Moodle as well. That we have a Monday to Sunday pattern because we're one of the online classes. Usually when we do a class and I'm teaching it face-to-face, all the assignments are due at 6 o'clock when we start class on that evening, for whatever evening it might be, Monday or what have you. But the way the online ones work is that they start on that Monday and they conclude then on Sunday night. So when you see in your syllabus it says due on Sunday, it means due on Sunday. For this week, I'm not going to worry about that. But in the weeks ahead, as we move forward, any assignments that you want and you want full credit for, we'll want to have them in by Sunday. Do let me know if there are other issues. Some people had connected issues this week trying to get online or trying to get there with consistency to get some of the assignments done, and we can work around that as well. You'll see in the syllabus that a lot of times the due date has a Friday/Sunday, and that's going to be always when we have discussions or forums for you to where you want your initial post to be by Friday, so others who are going to respond to you have a chance to do so over the weekend. But generally speaking, most of the assignments will be due on Sunday of any given week. So so for example, this week the syllabus says that there are 3 main assignments. There is the baptism worksheet, which is due Wednesday, and we'll do a quick poll here when I get finished. So hang on to that idea about Wednesday. There's a discussion, which is a Friday, Sunday. So Friday's your first post, and by Sunday any conversation. Then there's going to be the temptations worksheet. That's 2.3, and also the wonders and mighty deeds worksheet 2.5. And those are both due Sunday with a discussion in the middle, 2.4. That's a Friday, Sunday. Does it make sense do you prefer to have, because I can work with this if you guys would want, is having an assignment just 2 days away from now, like that baptism worksheet, is that difficult? Will you have time the next 48 hours to get that started, or is your pattern going to be better if I kind of push those off, even though it means there may be a lot more coming due at the same time at the end of the week?
I liked it being spread out, but that's just me.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
Anybody else got a preference?
This week was perfect, so.
I like it spread
Okay.
out. It keeps me from procrastinating.
Okay, well let's just get, okay, well maybe this will help kind of keep you on track that way, Alex.
Yeah.
So again, usually the majority is going to be on Sunday, but there may be an assignment or two earlier in the week kind of to help keep that spread out a little bit. So so that's what we'll do. We will keep it on that. But then again, so next week when we get started, I will be taking late assignments. Again, don't worry about this week. We're going to give a lot of grace for this week. But as we move past week 2, if you have an assignment, you want to get it in, but it's late past the deadline, do get it in anyway, because I will dock, say like a 10%, so it's a grade for the week that you miss. But it's a whole lot better to get most of the credit rather than no credit. So so do stay on top of that, and I want to keep making that available to you so long as you don't get too far behind. A couple of the assignments this week, because we're going to get our first real assignments looking ahead this week. The first one is the baptism worksheet, and you'll see it in week 2. I posted a video which will help you with it. So before you do the worksheet, go ahead and watch the video of my lecture on the baptism. But it's using our terms from last week, it's a literary world worksheet. So what you're looking for mostly is just how the text is put together. There'll be some questions that'll be asked in the worksheet, and I'm not trying to trick you on any of this. When it asks the question, where is John? Because this is a story of John the Baptist and then Jesus coming to be baptized. It says it right there in verse 1. It's not like I'm not looking to try to trick you. It's just causing you to look at the text itself and try to wrestle with what's being said, how is it being said. And again, I think you'll like the video lecture, because there's some key things that will help you as you watch that. It'll help you when you come around to doing the assignment. Because if you just read it, you may catch some of the flavor of it, but there's some things that you will see once we identify, like how Matthew uses contrast to help us understand who he's telling us Jesus is. it's helpful. So watch the video, and then that first worksheet will be due on Wednesday. And there's a few other places in there where it's going to ask some historical world questions. And for that assignment, the best thing to do, because you weren't alive 2,000 years ago, is to look at the notes at the bottom of the page. If you're working through the New Oxford Annotated Bible that we have in the class, at the bottom of the page below that Matthew 3 section, there's some really good notes, and some of those will be helpful, and some of them will be helpful and actually directly help you with the assignment. So go ahead and keep an eye on the notes at the bottom of the page. The other thing I want to say about historical world helps is the notes at the bottom of the page in the New Oxford Annotated Bible. Also, this book that we're going to be reading, in fact, you started this week, I hope, The Upside Down Kingdom, is really helpful. This is really good for giving us some better historical world information that you'll find help things like the baptism worksheet, the temptations worksheet, and of course it's going to be helpful all along, even as we get to the signature assignment at the end. So this week we were to read chapters 1 through 4. This coming week up, we are to read chapters 5 through 8. The week following, not getting too far ahead of us, we'll be doing 9 through 12. The reason I point that out is because in week 4 there's going to be an assignment called the analysis of Kraybill. It's an analysis. You can't see it yet. It's not in the syllabus, and the Moodle for week 4 is not up yet. But I will email out that assignment so you'll know what it is you're looking for. Because as you read this, I would like you to be reading it not only as it helps with your current assignments like the baptism worksheet, but also so that it can help you get ready for that assignment in a couple weeks when the analysis comes due. So I'll send out that information to you via email tonight about what that assignment looks like. In a nutshell, let me just read a little bit about what it is, and I've got it here. The analysis of the Kraybill book is going to be a 3 or 4 page assignment. It needs to be APA formatted and all the rest. And it's going to follow a specific structure. The structure is this: in one paragraph, describe the main point or the thesis of what Kraybill is trying to do in his book. And you can find that. You probably already read it when you read the preface this week, because he's real easy. He tells you in the preface, why am I writing the book? So just reread that preface, find his thesis, what is his main point going to be. And then over the course of these next few weeks, you'll want to select 3 of the chapters that you read, not all 12 of them, but 3 of the chapters, and focus on those 3 chapters and analyze how they help develop his thesis. That's, in a nutshell, that's what the assignment will be. So, for example, as you're reading chapter 4 or 5 or 6, 5 or 6 or 7 this week, one of those, or maybe all 3 of those chapters, will be what you will base your paper on. So I will send the information out via email about that assignment. So as you're reading, you can be taking notes and just watching how that thesis is developed, because that'll be the heart of that assignment that you will need to be able to address in about 2 weeks. Is there any question on that? I know it sounds really hard and kind of weird for me to be explaining it, but I think you'll understand it better when I send out the email. Okay, did y'all get a chance to get started on the Upside Down Kingdom? If you didn't, it's time to get started, because that assignment is going to come due in about 2 weeks. And again, you'll need to cover about 12 chapters to be able to do that analysis. So again, there's usually about four a week to get the class started. This is really the key book for the first part of our time together. Oh, the other thing. Well, I got Kraybill up here too. One of the other assignments this week is going to be the Temptations worksheet. You'll see it's going to be due on Sunday. And actually, if you don't read chapters 2, 3, and 4 out of Kraybill, again, that was part of our assignment last week, But if you haven't read 2, 3, and 4 of Craybill, you won't really be able to answer the questions that are in the Temptations worksheet. But if you do read it, Temptations worksheet is, we're going to have some very specific questions about what Craybill says. So you might want to take a look at that, especially if you haven't read Craybill yet. You might look at it just to know what kind of questions are going to be addressed from the reading as you move forward this week. So the other thing about history, or the historical world, and this is my last piece for us tonight before we do some questions, is there's also going to be some videos this week, a little bit longer extended videos, 30, 40 minutes at a piece, dealing with culture in the first century and some of the issues that were going on around the time of Jesus there in that region of Palestine. And again, the goal here is simply to begin to develop a little bit of a sense of a background for you, understand a little bit of the backstory, so that the story as we read it begins to make a little more sense, and we can begin to do that work of interpreting, moving us closer to that contemporary world view, which then begins to apply the meaning of the passage into our current situation. So, anything on what I said so far, either literary world for the baptism assignment, or Craybill, or the videos in the historical world, especially for the Temptations assignment. Anything question-wise there on what we're doing this week? Okay, well, any other questions in general? How's the class going for you, or do you have questions as we get ready to move forward?
No question.
No questions? Okay, well, let me do this then. We've got just a couple of minutes. I'm going to just touch on the chapter 3 in the Bible of the book of Matthew. That's the heart of this baptism worksheet. So I'll just give you a little fun fact here as we move forward. One of the questions on the worksheet is going to ask you, what are some of the things that, let me see, pull it up here. Okay, number 5 says, what metaphor does John use when talking about the Sadducees and Pharisees? Again, who are the Sadducees and Pharisees? Craybill does a nice job in, I think, it's chapter 2, kind of helping us know some of the climate and the political climate of the day. But there's a phrase in here that Matthew records John referring to these people as a brood of vipers. And so that's the metaphor that we're looking at. And so the question is, from the assignment is, what's going on with this metaphor, or is he just name calling? Well, he is certainly name calling. But what's trying to be communicated? When you hear that phrase, brood of vipers, what do you think of? Anyone? Is it something a nice thing you would say to somebody? If I were talking to a professor friend of mine, I said, my class is a brood of vipers, would that be a good thing?
Kind of think of bullying.
Thank you, Javi. No, it wouldn't. What's that?
Oh, when I think of a brood, I think of like a bully. I don't know if I'm on the right track.
Well, yeah, that's a good question, because other than what we hear or what we know from this being a biblical, quotation, we often don't know what a brood of vipers is. And so it's one of those things, again, without a historical lens, we don't understand what it even means. And so sometimes a lot of people think, oh, it must be a bad name. Call somebody a snake. That's usually not a good reference. And a viper is a type of a snake. In a brood, I mean, think about it. I guess what a mother hen has a brood of chicks. Is that, anyone here raise chickens?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. So, oh, you do, Alex. Very good. how do you refer to a? Is it a brood?
Well, a brood is kind of like a characteristic that a chicken has with her chicks. It's kind of like that thing she does where she collects the chicks under her and she sits on them. That's called brooding. So
Okay.
you could, I guess you consider it as like a brood of chicks as like a little group of little chicks, or like a mother brooding is like a mother hen brooding her chickens. It's like she's coddling her chickens. So it has like a different context with chicks from like my experience.
Yeah. Well, in similarly, it has a different context here when we move into the snake world. But there's a similarity. So the idea here that he's getting after, and be glad that you tuned into Zoom tonight, because this is going to be a key piece that you might not get otherwise. The brood of vipers is a real specific phrasing, and what a reference is when a snake lays its eggs, at least the viper, he would also often find a depressed part of the ground to lay the eggs in, and then he would slither about and cover it up with the dirt so that they would incubate, they'd stay warm, but also be somewhat protected from predators or what would see the eggs. If the eggs were out in the open, the eggs would be eaten. And so they kind of would lay their eggs in a depressed area and then cover them with sand or dirt so that they wouldn't be seen. Now, when the little baby vipers then hatch, they are in this shallow, loose dirt. But baby vipers, like grown-up vipers, are very deadly, and so it becomes dangerous if you were to step on this depressed area. Though it doesn't look like it's depressed, it's just soft, and it's filled with this brood of little baby vipers. And you're not wearing army boots, you're wearing sandals or whatever. You would likely be bit on the foot, ankle, and that area by these very poisonous snakes. And so a brood of vipers would be that area what looks like it's safe and looks like it's a secure and it's a safe place to go or to walk, but in fact it's deadly. I'm not sure how we would say it today if we were thinking about a situation that has the appearance of being secure and safe, but in fact is life-threatening. But when John calls the Pharisees and the Sadducees a brood of vipers, that's what he's saying. He's using this idea that they have the appearance of being safe or life-giving, but in fact they're deadly, or at least what they propose or what they purport is deadly spiritually. And so hold on to that thought, because when you move into the questions in that assignment, part of those questions are going to deal with, what's he saying? Why is he saying it? But then also on the flip side, in the contrast between the Pharisees and Jesus, if he's saying that about the Pharisees, what is he saying about who Jesus is? And so just kind of an interesting way of going at it, plus a little bit of history. So the brood of vipers was definitely not a nice thing to say about them. So I wouldn't recommend calling people that. But if you did, nobody would know what you're talking about unless they've had this class. So no worries. All right, any other questions? That's just a little extra takeaway, because if not, we'll call the Zoom for the evening completed. And as I did last week, I will post it. So for anyone, thank you, Javi, for gathering people. I'll try to do the Zoom thing better next week, that we're all in the same place. But I will post the recording so that if anyone else has a need to see it or can't see it at 6, they can see it later on in the week. I'll get it up tomorrow. I will email you that week 4 assignment so you can see what is coming as you read through the Craybill book. I'll get that to you so that you can see what assignment is coming in a couple of weeks. And other than that, I think that's it for me.
All
Okay,
right.
so last call. Questions? All right. You guys have a great evening, and thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that it was at 9. That it starts with the 9, the login, the code. So it was the 932 number to log into this one,
932.
because the one
For this one or the other one?
The other one was like a 973. I don't know. We were just confused. 'Cause
Yeah,
the email,
yeah.
yeah, the
Well,
email one.
I think I know it was. Go ahead, Avi, please, because you probably understand this better than I do.
No, I was
What
just.
I
I
will
was just
what I will
wondering.
do. Yeah, no, well, I did something wrong, and that's simple. I probably thought the number was the same because it was recurring, but it probably wasn't. And so I'll go through and be real careful. I will, the one I'll post on Moodle next week will be the one that is tied into next week's lesson, so we all should be in the same place.
Yeah, I was just confused. A little
I'll
confusing.
email
'Cause it still has your email. It still has the same email and everything. It's just that the numbers are different. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Okay.
Yeah, just wanted to know.
Okay, well, I'll do some looking into it. I'll do some looking into it, but thank you, because I do want to get this better. I don't want people sitting, waiting for me somewhere else when I'm not there. So,
Yeah, yeah, because we were
so thanks for
there's some
saving the
people
day.
just waiting. Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for your time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Javier. Appreciate it.
All right,
Okay,
take care.
good night.
Good night.